So, Mazi Okey Okoro, are you still on?
Yes.
Well, go ahead, because. So it's your way better. And guess what, Chinyere? When I saw your hand up, I made it a priority. Can you know I'm not digging a mewayo. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because when the men have coordination in not the man. As I Mama Ekelegen Kuku, Ahambo Isaac Eke Okoro, from Atani, and na New Jersey, one of my wife. Onyema Onyembo, former commissioner for education. So him Charejo, Boye Basara College of Education. Eze Nzambe Chineke mere anyị nweta College of Education na Arochukwu. Ihe anaghị aga anyị lewere anya. Ama m ihe your dad, His Royal Majesty Vincent Okoro, mere anyị ma ga-eji tinye College of Education na Arụ. Mgbe bidoro ya, ịhụrụ aga ndị ngwa ji gbaa mgba ukwu ịnapụ ya anyị. Chineke mee ebere, Eze bịara n'ụlọ nọmba 4 Kpara Avenue. Mwana busoro gbaa make sure na napụrụ anyị University College of Education. So College of Education kwesịrị by now ịghọ University kacha University niile n'ala Igbo. Ihe a na-egbute m ruo taa n'ihi na ama mgbara ịhụ that University that education nọ hụ n'Arụ. So ọ na-atọ m ụtọkwanụ na Chineke mere abịa nweta onye nwa nke ya bịara bụrụ eze anyị na-Arụ taa, dị educated, ma ihe education bụ marakwa n'uru ọ ga-abara ala Igbo ndị Arụ. So m na-asị nwanne m nwoke eze anyị, ndị a plan ị na-emeke sure na mgba niile anyị gbara na eze gbara, imeke sure because o ji aka ya bịakwute m n'Ụmụahịa ya gbaa mgba mee ka University ahụ dere ka a ghara ịnapụ ya anyị. Ebe ahụ ka obi m dị, m na-achọ a ga-ebiara ugbu a ndị anyị ga-eme ime ka eme University ahụ College of Education eme ya elevate ka ọ bụrụ ihe o kwesịrị ịbụ. Then nke ọzọ m chọrọ ịjụ bụ ndị anyị a ga-emekwanụ maka ndị herdsmen a na-abịa na-edistọbụ ndị Arụ. So m chọrọ ka ma ga-aba mgbe ka achọrọ na ihe dị agaghị adịghị n'ihi na oke ka m kwụsị ka a ghara iwecha ịtụfusi mgbe gị niile. Nke ahụ ụjọ abụọ m jụrụ gị, m chọrọ ka ị zaa ma ọ tinye ọnụ na ya ha abụọ. Ndewo.
Mazi ndewo. Abụrụ m na ịdị very passionate about Aseta. Tandina, the Aseta lecturers that are Biavom na Palace and we wetara letter wo delere already ekwesịrị inye onye isi obodo wo Biavom ikwuru m ka m titụrụ ọnụ ikwuru gọọmenti gbasara ihe gbasara Aseta. Agụgbabeghị m maka ihe o dere dị ntụtụ nke we na-enye gọvanọ na nke we chọrọ ka etiriwe ọnụ. agụba ihe dum o deputara maka all just standing. I just finished a meeting ahụ batawa na Zoom nkama enwe interaction with them odotu anya na ihe wo chọrọ nke ikwuru maka ime asset upgrade to university. I think it's a laudable vision. Kama na ihe ọbụla na-eme kwesịrị ịtọ anya n'ala bụ na emere ya mezie emezi. Anyị ndị nọ na Nigeria nwere privilege got some universities in Nigeria. They're concerned at the proliferation of universities without adequate funding and without providing adequate facilities to deliver good quality education. So, over no hang choro de kandaro. I'm assign a minivu na emeziri emezi. Nkoma over na enweta anyama na akwariri basara na ganivu. If Asata is going to become a university, it must be well funded. The facilities must be top notch. Instructions, all the elements have to be there in order for it to be worth our effort and worth our while. Otherwise, it will be a university by name, and in substance, it will still be the same Asata, and that's not what we want.
That's good.
However, I do believe that Arochukwu, as the citadel of Igbo custom, culture, and tradition, is deserving of a world-class university.
That's right.
And either by the state government or by the federal government or by some private institutions or individual, it's a cause that we must pursue. And that's really what I believe that we have to make happen. How we're going to make it happen, we still have to work, on it. And if it is upgrade of Aseta that is the answer, we will find out in due course. But all I'm saying is that when and if and rather when we do it, it has to be done right.
That's right.
Nkodi putere okwu ya bụ ndị herdsmen na-enye anyị nsogbu. O so na ihe pụtara na ezumezu anyị nwere tandị na meetings we had today.
Very good.
Aru nwere boundary with communities, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, ma ndị ọdọ na Abia State, ndị Ututu, ndị Ihe, and all these boundaries are generating a lot of problems. And the consequence of boundary disputes, but then the headsmen then have a free reign, terrorizing both the Haro community and their neighbor community as it is. When you are not, in good terms with your neighbor, then of course a third party comes in and have his way. Whereas, against that chekwa onwa anyị na zana mgbochi erutu ugbo abo, anyị na ndị anyị na obatara obi, anyị na agba ndụ, aga arụza emeje ha, anyị agba ndụ kwuo ebe ọkara anyị na wo dị, anyị ndị amara wo ndị amara, anyị ndị chekwa ruo n'ebe ọkara ahụ wo ndị chekwara ruo n'ebe ọkara ahụ. Then ọ dịkwa gị Opoto, man, the headsman or any other person meji abata. So here Kurutan now when I set up a committee immediately.
Very good.
Ma etianya tinyoku na ihe basara boundary and de aina obatara obi. When they jiba my records and all those things kwesiri by the oku. And I said I'm a agijea na multiple levels. Traditionally, and with the help of government, both interstate and up to federal government boundary resolution institutions. We're going to explore that. Plus, IMT technology, ijivo na mbawala iji hazie ihe okwu boundary ne ahaziri on a more permanent basis. So, nkavo iji zato ajụjụ jụrụ maka ndị herdsmen. Amama nzabala ajụjụ ndo.
Thank you very much. The Lord will sustain you.
Ndewo.
Ndewo, no?
Okay, Biko, thank you very much, His Majesty. Just a reminder, if we are going strictly by time, we have about 40 minutes left. I'm also aware of all the people who raised their hands. I think the first person to raise his hand waiting was Vincent Okoro. But the people in line for questions are Kingsley Kano, Vincent Okoro, Philip Enyinaya, Chinedu Oji, and Juliet Oboyelo Nwa Okoro. But because no more people go too much, I think Juliet came later, but we'll honor her as a woman to ask the next question. And I know that now the 4 men here before her, gentlemen, so women. Okay, let's go ahead. Juliet, you're muted. Can we go ahead? Time is of essence.
Okay, Ndewo, His Royal Majesty. My name is Juliet Okoro from Atani. My question is, how do you intend to improve on transportation in Aro? Because we really don't have a good transportation in Aro. We just have, everybody coming in to do what they know how to do best. At least now that we have a new Eze Aro in place, we need to improve on our transportation. That's my question, day one.
This is really an interesting one. I never thought about it. So I think for this one, Juliet, my response to you is that I will make a note of it because I don't like to give unprepared response, because I need to think about it and make sure that we have actionable plan to execute whatever I say. So mmedetu ka edetu anyị agati ya anya. Amam na ndị na-agba ma keke ma ọkada na ime Aro afụtụla mbụ anyị, and we had some interaction. Kama transportation as a question was something anyị atụlibe uche ukwu. I think that will include ndị zara Aro na-achọ ịpụ mba, ndị zara Aro na-achọ ịga Aba, ndị zara Aro na-aga Ụmụahịa. Parks, where are their parks? How do they get? I hope you're not expecting Uber in Aro or something like that, but we will we will look at that question, and hopefully at our next interaction have a response.
Okay,
we'll get there.
Thank you, His Majesty. Just a note for you, His Majesty. On a note to Nandi chat, and I think it's somebody in diaspora, say that her neighbors are gathered to see Eze Aro. So now we pass on that, and then again, the next person for question is Chinedu Oji. Chinedu, I'm sorry you've been waiting, because your turn.
Mazi, good evening. Eze Ndewo. Okay, Avamza Chinedu Oji. Onyema. I'm speaking from Aro currently. My concern and what I really want to talk about is, by God's grace, I've been privileged to be in Aro since 2021. My job brought me back to Aro. And I observed something that is paining me seriously as a person, and that is health in Aro. They say health is wealth. I've observed that, frankly speaking, most of the deaths that occur in Aro are things that if we had a good hospital in Aro, we can actually avoid such deaths. People are dying in Aro seriously because there is no good hospital. I don't know, somehow it's kind of a government thing, but on the other hand, I still believe there's something that can be done. In fact, I must be frank to you. There is even this rumor in Aro that one of the major private hospitals, so-called in Aro, that is operating in Aro, there's a question mark on the doctor itself. The hospital is cited in Oro, if I'm not mistaken. There's a question mark. People are asking questions about his what's it called, certification as a medical doctor. Sorry, I'm going this far, but I must be frank to you. There is no health care system in Aro. People are based on going to chemists, self-medication. You see somebody coming into and stuff like that, and people are dying. So if anything happens to anybody that is resident in Aro, and you don't have any money to rush that person to either Ikotekbene or Umuahia or whatever as fast as possible, believe you me, it's only by God's grace. If not, you will lose that soul.
Okay,
so
Chinedu,
I don't know
Chinedu, thank
how
you.
we're going to please.
Anyway, Chinedu, I think your question is clear, and I'm sure as an arrow know where you're going, because just in the interest of time, let's keep it to questions and not commentary. And because for the rest of the people who raised their hands, and Chinedu, don't get me wrong, your question is extremely pertinent. However, Biko and the rest of the people, ask your question, but don't indict somebody's character based on rumors. That's not what we're here to address. Okay, Biko.
It's okay, sir. Thank you.
His Majesty, Biko.
So Chinedu, ekele m gị ebe ọ dị ukwuu na ajụjụ jụrụ maka healthcare. Ihe ahụ o so na ihe ndị anyị kpatụlere na izu gara aga maka okwu healthcare na Aro. O nwere ndị nke gọọmenti kwesịrị imere anyị. Anyị na-awụ ma ezute ka anyị tinye ọnụ na nke ọhụ fụ na ihe o kwesịrị ime na wo mere ya. Mgbe anyị kpara ụbụbọ a, m nụrụ na ma ndị dọkịta ma ndị nọọsis eposturu anyị na wo bịa wee nweghị accommodation wo laa. Ọ bụrụ na wo lara bụ gara a repost otu ibe ọdọ anyị amaghị. So ihe ndị a wụ ụbụlọ ihe ndị na-emebi n'ahụ anyị maka leadership gap. So ebe ọ bụ na information ahụ erutela anyị aka, anyị na-eme ndị gọọmenti engage very serious iji vụ na ma nurses ma doctors eposturu anyị na anyị mere ka wo nwee ebe wo ma anọ ka wo nwee ike ịnọ na rụọ ọrụ gọọmenti si wo bịa rụọ. Nke kwutetụrụ maka private clinics and all of that. Amam nenwa Aro USA, hospital and clinic. We have to spend some time to investigate what is going on. Our here is a concern similar to what we have heard in the meetings. I'm Uchu, Ejivo, na Ndenonaro, medical facility, medical care, and that we have caregivers who are available by way of doctors and nurses, Manenyaka, all these hospitals, non-Aro. But I share your concern. I'm in Aro myself right now, and nobody wants to be in a place where if you have a medical emergency, you're not able to reach at least a doctor who can stabilize the person, even for Medivac, as the case may be. So that's something that we're addressing. I think I see in the chats there's still a question about tourism. I think let me just say quickly that that's receiving our attention. There are tourism sites that we have in Aro, the 72 steps, the waterfall, and a few tourism sites for which we're having conversation that those sites needs to be properly promoted, branded, and turn to the greater good and benefit of Aro community and become part of our brand promotion as a kingdom, that when people come, they should be able to visit those sites. So there's a lot of work that we have discussed. Some of them have kicked off, some are yet to kick off. that in due course I am an Umaro aga Ihendoho Zanaga.
Okay, the next person will be Kingsley, but Kingsley Kanobiko, before I get to you, I want to notice His Majesty on his own saw some comments on chat that he has addressed. So I want your question relates to what's already been addressed. If you could just let it go or think of another question in the interest of time. Kingsley Kanobiko, go ahead.
There one here. Arumamano. Eze Aro. Imade. Ajujumbo, all in relation to what Mazi Onyemobi Anyiwo. My own in the Kumaka. Or digitalizing the processes in Arochukwu. Like, when him done achievement, as in a mad number de woke, as no young man no better so, or in one man no sit down yagi, to here in Mana, I go do what we may get evolved to different levels, like this man, the more remote kind in here, and you're not covered are there no. So, is it something in your plan that there will be a way that people can remotely, represent themselves when there are issues or when there are, certain things that they have to discuss or sort out between families, friends, and others? They will.
Dịka isi kwuo, society dum mana aga n'ivu kama ọwụ ihe dum ka ma baide n'ike o nwere ihe ndị anyị meji ntanta na hazi. I believe in digital enablement, and it's my practice. I use that a lot. But I also believe that onwe ihe ndị will our custom, culture, tradition, and in preserve. I'm a lehendo hanya. We've discussed it. Things that have lesser consequence and impact. Meetings like this, having some kind of meeting with Zoom and all of that, we should. Come on, Uroku, Nadima in I'm not aware that there are many jurisdictions that accept remote representation for judicial matters, because it's very tricky. So, as you question, I made Amara, what can we digitally enable over time, and what do we have to apply care and follow orthodoxy in terms of how digital representation is being handled, not just in our local community, but globally, because there are global norms and standards that needs to be followed. Particularly in Hebasari, we have discussed extensively Naima launching Kuru Arochukwu traditional judicial reform. And that Arochukwu traditional reform would mean that agaze ikpe agaze ahazi ihe na aliaro na meme according to transparent, and the matter how to engage with the process and what to expect at every stage, and nekwesiri ikpe za na ime ezi wonogo zanogo gawa na kindred before Rute Palace. Here don't do mekwesiri date by date to condemn mara how to engage with our traditional judicial process. But I do agree with you, reforms are required and we will reform. But we will reform respecting and tradition.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, next is Vincent Okoro. Vincent Okoro, I see your hand is up. Vincent Okoro, you are muted. Okay, can I get to Philip Enyinaya?
Okay, I'm here. Hello, can you hear me? Vincent,
okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, it's a good evening. Ndewo, sir. Hello? Ndewo.
On a no hine, go ahead.
Okay. Ihe m chọrọ ịjụ wụ aha m wụ Vincent Okoro, ahụ m onye Ugbo village. Ebikwana m na Spain. Ihe m chọrọ ịjụ wụ like last 2 years, enwere serious issue with ndị Kpanja. And now, when any immediate action enwere ike take because of the otu dị ugbu a now, mma anyị ha nọ n'ụlọ a na-agawuzi egbu nkwụ ha, which is na sustain ha na village. I can enwe issue. I don't have a go here for boundary committee from last questions, but is there anyhow when the case will reach make a good sure now that is our mothers in the village, Haga Ubi, Haga to save. Because this issue with the Banja people cause Umuaro, Nwa village, Umuaro. So now, John, when any immediate thing with the Kim, make sure now I resolve for that thing. Man, how we can agree. Yeah, number one. Number two, when anything I game, whatever arrow called the urbanization, like my attracting him with the factory or something with your connection with the government, we keep youth engaged, like job opportunity, so that I can now migrate every time from village to town seeking for job. Thank you. That's my 2 questions. Thank you.
Ndewo. Ajụghị nke mbụ bụ onwe ha nwere ike ime ugbu a ka ndị nne anyị ha nwee ike ịbanye ubi igbu akwụ. Ọzịza ya bụ mgbe dum o nwere ihe mmadụ nwere ike ime. Dịka m kwuru, anyị Constitutive Committee a ọwụ naanị okwu boundary, ọkwa ebe anyị nwere okwu nọ n'ọgbụgbụ a ka o nwee ike ititu ya ọnụ. Ihe nke izizi anyị bidoro ime wụ na ndị a niile bụ ndị agbata obi anyị na-aga ịvụwo, amaeziga ndị mmadụ ịga vụọ, maka na mgbe ọbụla ihe nọ n'ala, o nwere aga maza eti ọnụ, nwere aga maza eti ya okwu. So nke ndị ugbo, ọ bụghị naanị ugbo, anyị kpara ndị na ma ugbo ma ama ọba, that whole line wouldn't experience the same thing. So I'm on Gara Ije Nona with the hope and expectation that this planting season, our people will be able to go back to the farm. I joking about factories. We have spoken about that we subscribe to the Akurulo concept. No Umuaro rallies. Bara factories Nibodo. I'm encourage they are in those factories na Aliaro. So that is a program that by this Easter, starting by this Easter, we will have several engagements with different Aro sons and daughters to promote that whole idea. And in this discussion, I think mention has been made about the non-diaspora. Imeko encouraged to invest in building factories in Aro, like you said, to engage our young people. These things will take time to mature, but we need to start. We need to start talking about it. We need to start looking at our land tenure system. We need to identify and allocate industrial clusters, because it doesn't make sense that we're building factories all over the place. Factories do by nature carry pollutants. So you have to designate industrial areas, industrial clusters where factories can be built together and you can manage their waste and effluent and things, and keep that separate from where you are promoting agriculture, keep that separate from where you are promoting people's residences and residential housing. So that's work we have already started discussing. Thanks for your question.
Okay, because I see 4 hands up. In the interest of time, can we limit our questions to one most important question, HRM, because we are running out of time. Philip Enyinaya.
All right, thank you very much, sir. His Royal Majesty, may your reign be peaceful and long. Our moderator, thank you, sir. Umar Ribem, this is Philip Uonyaba. I'm joining from Abuja. His Royal Majesty, thank you for this UBUBO with Eze Aro. Mine is not a question. Mine is from your antecedent, which you told us. I want to believe you also understand that there is need for us to have a sort of master plan. Mogara School, NAG, and His Majesty, if you have gone around the two premier schools in Aro, you will know that they are all in their past glory. Beresleso and Agri, those are schools that need renovation. And I know there are things government is expected to do, but in other communities, we have seen how government is not able to take all of this, and there is need for community involvement. If you also go to our primary schools, they are all ekabo, as it were. From my village, Ababu, Ezakma school, I don't know how many that have the roof. December, we're talking on how we can help. So, sir, I was looking at a master plan. Yes, with the burden those from diaspora are having and all of that. If I looked at how many of us are here, about something, and you have told us about how you want people who will assist our pro bono, I really give you a thumb to that. We don't have another Jerusalem, as it were. It is Aro, and I want to believe we have the professionals who can put their hands on the plow and help you come up with a master plan. Aro does not have a stadium, for instance, and when we began to talk about the issues of drug and all of that, not only on the cup that is coming, we want to look at basketball, we want to look at handball and all of that. We need a stadium. And these are things we can invest to make sure we engage our younger generation and the young people for them not to get to the vices of their time. Philip, we need a master plan. I work in the Federal Ministry of Transportation, master plan for transportation, education, tourism, health,
okay, Philip,
the technology
please,
and vocational village.
Let's move on.
Agriculture process. It's not a question. It's just an advice. He's not going to answer me. I'm just saying what we can do.
I understand, but we have other people that need to talk, and Eze Aro is ready to answer, and we're limited on time. I truly appreciate your question, please, or your comments. Thank you very much. His Majesty.
So I think there's really a beautiful response to your question, Wale, is that we actually do have a master plan. Nzukaro have put together what they call AroDep 2030. I have read it. It is a classic, masterful piece of work. I was pleasantly surprised and pleased at the depth of thinking that has gone into that work. So I think that, we have our work cut out for us because the master plan is there, very comprehensive. Now, what we need to do is to fund it and to implement. That's what is required. And I have already told Nzukaro that we're going to have a big meeting this Easter to speak specifically to that point. How do we fund AroDep 2030? And how do we implement it with discipline, with measurable tracking for success, as we do with typical projects, just to ensure that we deliver the AroDep with this. So I will encourage Omar Nona Kola to read AroDep 2030. Read that document. It is masterfully put together. It's the kind of material you will pay top dollar to get for any organization. And Umuaro we can put together that master plan. I fully subscribe to it, fully endorse it, and commit that we should implement it.
Thank you, His Majesty. The next question will come from Mazi Frank Agodi. And Mazi Frank Agodi, because he was one of the first people who this time it has to be abbreviated.
Yeah, yes. So, Nwa-Mazi Ndewo, you kind of took it out of depth when somebody could health. Out of depth have health, which is led by Dr. Koro Babe. So, because, like you said, Umuaro support all that. And secondly, Ado USA, you mentioned, when a clinic that has everything in it, and a maternity ward is there, not being used. Because I know, I can make a government made that place state or federal clinic or based in here our brother could about health. And also when Ada Mazi the lighter very classy modern baby, all those things have to put in use so that other people from other community when they can for the government to make those things that will help reduce your which Dr. Koro Babi has been leading here health-wise, because that will help is health. If government will take that place as RUS clinic as a federal clinic or state, bring doctors there, then I want to help to maintain that place. That will help us a lot. That's all I have to say. So, Fred, this is very short and abbreviated.
Okay.
So the short answer to that one day was that yes, it's something we will do. Yeah. We had the conversation today about doctors that have been sent to Aro who have left. So at least the one that is for government clinic, we have to make that work first. And then, of course, advocacy for government to adopt our other health facility to provide doctors, etc. That we will surely do.
Okay, next is Delight Sunday Nature.
Good evening, Your Royal Majesty. I'm really pleasantly pleased to be on this call. Thank you so very much. I have just two very short comments. Number one is that I've been in Aro for 18 months and I've gone round. I noticed that the land is beginning to show signs of erosion in some very specific areas. You start looking around, you see the foundations of houses coming out. And that's something I think we should begin to think about and take cognizance of. Then secondly, I would like to speak to education of our young ones. In my interaction with the school children in Agri and All Saints Secondary School, I realized that the products that come from the primary schools to the secondary schools is so poor. And I would like to know, Your Majesty, what your plans are in this area. And we brought a program we've been implementing so far, and it's been of help, according to the testimony of the teachers in Agri. But it's really important that we upgrade our primary school education, because these are children that will compete with other children in this 21st century. If their foundation is so poor, it's not going to help them. Thirdly, most of these children in public schools come to school on empty stomach. So the time they should spend in class, they use it running around looking for things, palm kernel, coconut, things to eat. How can we help? Thank you, sir.
The ajụjụ ndị jụrụ dị ezigbo mkpa. Thankfully, mụ na gị vụtara na December kpatụ obobo a, so nọ m n'obi nza. Kama nke ikwutere maka erosion, that's something we need to look at. I must confess we haven't, other than Ozu where erosion is trying to eat up that road that was built for us. We haven't looked at erosion generally as a problem na Alearo. But now that you have mentioned it, we're going to make a note of that and include that in our conversation with government and with the community generally. ihe kwutere maka education na primary education, secondary education, the infrastructure. I think somebody's talked about those infrastructure. Yeah, about you. I work with many communities as part of my work, and we do have this idea and understanding that once the quality of instruction for the primary school is weak, the person tends to struggle throughout his education. So you see these people who struggle in primary school, they may have multiple PhDs, but when they speak, you notice that something is missing in the foundation. Either the tenses don't construct, despite the fact that they have PhDs and things like that. So it's a very serious disservice as a community to our children if the quality of primary education they receive is weak, because to close that gap is difficult in later years. I'm aware that in some communities where this has been fixed, it's been fixed from the point of view of the quality of teachers. The quality of teachers that are instructing these children. Teacher na kuziri mmadụ English, jiri Igbo aro na kuziri onye ahụ English, ịmodiri English onye ahụ ma amụta. So I'm a ihe ndị ọhụ anya, and we have to do that in conjunction with the Ministry of Education, the quality of teachers that we have. We have to look into it. And then there's proliferation of private institutions. And some of these private institutions just do not have the mechanism to maintain quality. They hire whoever they can, collect money from parents, and basically not deliver the education. But it's our responsibility as a community to make sure that we get our children properly educated. And that starts from primary school. In Kikwutere about Oboromega School with Ago, that is a more difficult problem to solve. And why it's a more difficult problem to solve is because there is general hunger in the land. There's a general hunger in the land, and that general hunger in the land is affecting, everybody, both the parents of the children. Not that they want to send their children to school hungry, they just do not have the means to send their children to school with food. So as part of our overall look at what could be done in the kingdom, and all these engagements that we say we're going to engage with people, is to encourage the idea, because many communities came up with the idea to create intervention. I think we are gradually getting back to that level because of the economic realities in Nigeria today, such that we need to encourage ụmụ anyị na ụmụnne ndị mmadụ nọ na mba dị iche iche ka ọ na-eleri ndewe anya nọ n'ala arụ na ihe gbasara ma wa na-erikwa ndị ma wa anaghị eri ndị, ma ụmụ wa na-erikwa ndị ma wa anaghị eri ndị, nta ngwa agawa school. So ihe anyị kwesịrị na ibido lewe anya ugbu a. The hyperinflation in Nigeria is real, and Aro being not as productive as it used to be means that we import most food items, and consequently the cost of food items in Aro is unbelievable. So that's why children are going to school hungry. We need to do something about that, and there is conversation that by the end of the day, the only way to solve this high cost of food in Aro is that Aro needs to become productive again. Yeah, we need to create the enabling environment for our farmers to go to farm and farm without fear of being attacked by herdsmen, increase the volume of food production in Aro, and hopefully drive the cost of food in Aro down somewhat to enable parents give their children food before they go to school. Bit of a long answer to your question, but I think those are the key components.
Okay, we have two more questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. We have two more questions. The next one will come from Maxwell Okafor. Maxwell, please make it a question and not a long commentary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Eze Aro, good evening, sir. I'm Sir Maxwell Okafor, Onyemobi, a retired director, Central Bank of Nigeria. So, Mazi, ihe kwuru about boundary with adjoining communities and states. Nke mụ abụghị question so much, just area arịrịọ ka elebakwa anya na issues dị between ndị ogo dị iche iche na arụ. Asonye amụvi mma na amụvi na-enwe big problem with ụmụnne ndị Asaga about land. So mgbe ị na-eleba anya na boundary adjustment between arụ na ndị mba ọzọ anyị na ụgbara, ka elebata anya na nke dịkwa within us. And some of those things na ya the confidence to come back to Aru and feel safe. If not, I don't know mmadụ rụchaa ọrụ outside, ịgbara nlata Aru thinking you're safe. A na-ebugharị egbe na-achụgharị people. And not a daily occurrence na moving now. So because nke m ọwụ eleba ya na this nke elebakwa ya na problem dị between ndị ogo nọ n'ime Aru. So all my comments on him were equal, Mazi.
Anyị kwere na ihe ikwuru. Ana ama mmaza n'ime ụlọ pụọ n'ezi. Okwu ndị nọ n'ime ogo na ogo ezi na ezi. Ndị ahụ dum anyị meti igba ya ọnụ. Ihe anyị kwuru mgbe anyị bidoro ụbụbọ a maka ụmụ yutu anyị na-join the cult. Ụmụ yutu anyị na-ese ihe a na-ese na ihe a na-aṅụ na-abanye n'isi. Ọwụ ndị bụ agent. Ndị iro jikwara ngwaọrụ ị na-egbu egbe na-agagharị n'ala Arụ ma ihe ndị dị aga ihe ndị a ekwesịghị ịdị. So anyị ma ele ya anya ka enwe ike ịhazi gbogbo ihe ndị ahụ. But thank you for raising the question. Very well taken. We will take it on board.
Okay. The final question, based on my last number of people for Bradley Oliwa, I see you raised your hand, man. You raised your hand late, but we'll try to accommodate you. But for now, the final question is coming from, I think it's Ambassador Reverend Dr. Annie. You know who I'm saying. Because take it away. And after that, Bradley, if we have time, we'll come to you. But when I had those few people left, I also said that to round up that I have one or two questions I wanted to ask Eze Aro. So go ahead, Ambassador.
Thank you so much, Mazi. Good evening. My Royal Highness, good evening. Ndewo. Biko ana m ekele Umuaro niile nọ na this platform, and I thank God for the opportunity for me to ask this question. Long live my Eze. Ndewo. Biko my question amam unanu ihe na-ekwu.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So my question, even though one or two people equally, but I'm in a different angle. Nde bekee na health is wealth. Anyị ekwuola okwu tourism, anyị ekwuola okwu different infrastructure, how we can, enhance and develop our Arochukwu Kingdom. More as Umuaro, I'm so proud of Umuaro. I know and I wouldn't want my Eze to be communalized. Either like in the Igbos, Eze anyhow. It's not what I want for for our kingdom. But in terms of the health, our clinic, I just want us to look into it. How we can also contribute, because sometimes it's not what the government can do for us, it's what we also can do to enhance, to participate, our health, the functional, and the capacity of the doctors and the midwives, we look into that, properly. Or the way I now contribute ego to support, because I name tourism, name everything. Mother da hawk, my clinic, a good hospital, ebani geji we bujonya first class treatment. It will not give us a good name. Like in the RSA, their clinic, I know that during COVID, we all participated, contribute to, to support. Uncle Frank, I got the, they were doing good job, with His Excellency at that time. So we all participated and contribute. So I wrote that I'm joining my voice. If we can make that clinic, hire best doctors, any way we can contribute money, I don't mind, to support. Can you make the best nurses, best clinic, best nurses, best doctors, people that take care of the maternity wings and all that. I will be really glad to participate on that angle. So my thing is that,
Reverend,
sorry,
Mazi.
Sorry, I will just yes, I'll round it off. Sorry, Mazi. So I will be really glad to participate in anything, to support that clinic part of it. And then in education, the disjointed education line, most people with dyslexia, people don't know. Even teachers in the their foundation, because people with dyslexia, there is no tools for you to know that Naham were special needs, how I got through struggling. Then before Hane is somebody else, only Hane is through struggling. So in recruiting teachers, it is good for us to know only when challenges. So no matter how we can support them in terms of education, this is what I would like to contribute, because people with different challenges, in the diaspora where we live, and they make people text dyslexia, autism, and all that. Then
Reverend, you are repeating yourself now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Biko.
Okay. Biko, that's my question. And they won.
I don't think Reverend's question or comment is for question for answer. I think she's made very valuable contributions. I'm a deda, where as I me tikata na hende pastime ganivo. Reverend, thank you so much for your contribution.
And Reverend Biko, I concur here as Ekuru. So it wasn't that I wasn't appreciating your comments. I was just saying that it was very clear and you were repeating yourself. Eze Aro, Biko, thank you so much for the patience and the time to join us today. And Bradley, I still see your hand up. When we finish this, we'll see if Eze has a little more time. Thank you for your participation. But most importantly, I want to thank Ndị Aro Batara here today. If I told you that I expected Nage Obaghara, I'll be lying to you. And I haven't seen a Zoom meeting better professionally handled than this meeting today. So I want to applaud everybody. Moa, Wanyo Jari, Aro Jari in Anambra State. And on one hand, I tomoto, like the fact, now we're the roots, na Arochukwu. But I'll always tell people, say, Akpawoku na Nigeria, Mazagodi in Kedin Anambra before Mbagawa Aro. But I have a lot of pride in my Aroness. With that said, Eze, when he could hear that really touched me, but I really think now something that need to put heads together. Is that now Arochukwu was the citadel of Igbo culture. There is no question about that. That's a fact. And the reality on a national basis. And I've been raising this privately. Many people got our history, like Moa, don't understand where Aro stands in the history of Ndibo. Because Nanda Aro, like most of Ndabia, are highly educated but very reserved. And our citadel of culture, and you get bideti maka na na-ekwu ihe gbasara ndị Igbo and leadership ndị Igbo, ezeship and obiship, ihe ndị mmadụ na-anụ Obi of Onitsha. And for a long time, I've been telling people, I don't understand why UBUBO of Onitsha is so high and Nana Akpot Eze Aro. And Eze Aro should be up there. But I think to be up there, anyone need to do all these cultural things we're doing in a way that it's everywhere, flooding the internet with it, flooding everything, but also plusing here. Because Ijuandaro, Ikoku Siaro, Mbadiwe Siaro, Bono Dike Siaro, I cannot keep counting. I could count 1,000. Mana, we have to project ourselves that way. Then from an Ojari standpoint, okay, Ndick Borom can moderate and have Borom and say that I'm going to be neutral. But that one thing on Chori Guandaro, with that Ojari, my hometown, go through the last 15, 20 years. I don't wish it on our route, which is Arochukwu. So I want you to this thing, this confusion, taking it lightly. We shouldn't take it lightly, and we should try everything not to antagonize anybody. As Ojari, it took 15 years. Last year, came with a staff of office for a new Eze, and they divide. Arochukwu is all we have as our route. Let's do what it takes to preserve it. Ogugom
anyị kwesịrị ịkụrụ moderator anyị aka na okwu o kwuru zere n'igwe. Moderator ndewo. Kama ihe na-ekwu anyị kwesịrị ititi ọnụ maka ụmụarụ ndị nọ na nzukọ anyị taa. O nwere picture, mama anyị avụtala picture ọhụ during colonial Nigerian time. Queen of England came. They had the Sultan of Sokoto. And then you had the Eze Aro. I think there were just about 4 traditional rulers. UBUBO of Onitsha was not there. And many of the traditional rulers that, we hear their names today, they were not there. In fact, the Eze Aro was the only traditional ruler from Eastern Nigeria. Obong of Calabar wasn't there. So if you think about the Eze Aro stool from a historical, traditional point of view, that's where that comment and statement that I made is coming from. The Eze Aro stool is not a creation of the colonial masters. Some of the stools that you have are creation of the colonial masters. The Eze Aro stool is a truly historical, ancient, indigenous Igbo throne. And it is all of our collective responsibility as Umuaro both to tell our story and to preserve the eminence of that stool and that throne for the interest of all of ourselves as Umuaro and the entire Igbo race. Because when you have a stool that nobody can assail as a creation of colonial masters or a creation of people's recent ambition, it is what it is. Na ihe okpokoro nna Anyiwo chekwara dozie omerute n'aka anyị nde bịa mebie anyị emezi. Ihe mere anaghị anụ Eze Aro na okwu anaghị eru Eze Aro n'okwu ma ihe gbasara Nigeria na-ada aga m onye anyị tinyere n'oche ọhụ ma eme okwu eru anyị ọnụ eru anyị n'okwu ọnụ ama eru anyị n'okwu agaọza amasị m onwe ọ dị ka anyị emeela ihe kwesịrị ime ịhọpụta eze ọnụ kwesịrị iru n'okwu. I think I have my work cut out for me to make sure na Nigeria doom and indeed the whole world understands the value of this stone. And that when this stone speaks, Nigeria and the world should listen. And that will come from the depth of thought that we put into what we do and what we say, and the credibility that we bring to what we do and what we say. I think that is going to be important. And my appeal to Umuaro Dum Nona Kolabo are doing when we hear other kingdoms and other people, their traditional stools being projected and promoted, agawas emehe. Umuaro obula ebe obula wono. Ihe obula gbasara Eze Aro. Okwu obula gbasara Aro. Ihe gbasara Aro diaspora. Mkpa. And anyị kwesịrị iwepụta ivu eji evo na ebuzoro okpokoro a ka ọ bụrụ nke mbụ na Abia State, ka ọ bụrụ nke mbụ n'ala Igbo, soro na nke mbụ n'ala Nigeria, if not Africa and the whole world. I think we can do it. I believe we have the opportunity to do it. It should be our singular commitment to make it happen. I think on that note, Mazi kam kele Umuaro dum against anọkọ na abalịta ma ụbụbọ kwuo okwu. Enwere m olileanya na-atụkwasị Chineke obi na ala Aro adịla mma ma dịrị anyị na mma n'aha Jizọs.
Amen.
Ana akụkwa dị aka. Ana akụkwa dị aka.
Long live our king. Long live our king.
We love you so much.
Digital extra. 1 century.
On that note, Biko, I want to.
Fred in the war against a more organized. Against a more manage my time, my head to me.
Benin, oh, my mother, one of my open
Biko,
I don't know.
Okay, Biko, Nachom, come here.
Royal Majesty.
Come
here.
India, Chike.
Amen.
A kingdom is glorious as their king.
Well, because I want to apologize to the two people. I can't have it up. Next time, when we have an opportunity, Biko, thank you. Biko, thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred, don't need to apologize. Already, you asked the question, you took it out of the mouth about the preservation of our culture and making sure it's passed down to the generations unborn so that they would not get or getting the wrong picture or wrong history of Aro. You put it out of my mouth and I appreciate that. So you don't need to apologize. Thank you very much.
People should write your questions on the chat, please.
Eze, we love you.
Adjournment. Next meeting. Hi, Pastor Francis Ndo from Arochukwu here. I move for the adjournment of this meeting tonight.
Oh, Mazi Eugene Okey Imuoh. Seconded by Okato Okeybo.
Okeybo Mamman. Adelere yo ani bo sisama. O sisama